I'm Alex Jones, your host. Coming up here in just a few minutes, Roger Stone, who first called for a special counsel to investigate the fake Mueller Clinton crime family investigation of Trump for Russiagate. That's now openly being pushed by Congressman Jim Jordan and many others. Boy, when he first talked about it 2 months ago, they acted like he's ridiculous, you can't do that. The Democrats attacked within hours when he said that on the show because they're afraid of it. Roger Stone coming up in a moment. But finishing up, here it is. Here's Jim Jordan, who's asking the toughest questions along with Trey Gowdy. I've got to say, he's asking the toughest ones. Such a fan of this guy, saying exactly what Roger Stone's been calling for 2 months. Here it is.
This is unbelievable. So what's it going to take to get a second special counsel to answer these questions and find out, was Peter Strzok really up to what I think he was?
I think it's important to understand, Congressman, we have...
That's enough, because he's
General has...
Roger Stone, what do you make of this? What's the next big shoe to drop?
Well, Alex, Rod Rosenstein certainly proved to be the artful dodger today under relentless probing from Trey Gowdy and Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz. He dodged and weaved and kept referring every question to someone else on the question of text messages from the Mueller staff, on the question of McCabe's refusal to respond and testify for the Congress, McCabe being the deputy FBI director, on the question of the contributions to various Democrats, Clinton, Obama, and so on, from members of the...
And the very same Russiagate people are the ones covering up for Russiagate for the Clintons. I mean, this is a very tight group, really an inner conspiracy. It's so tiny that only like 7 people are running everything.
So I think what happened today is the move for a special prosecutor to hone in on Uranium One, hone in on what Mueller and the Get Trump Brigade, which is really what his strike force is up to, and their various biases and evidence of political democratic activism, really picked up speed today. I really have believed, as you do, that now, given the mainstream media position, the president can't just unilaterally fire Mueller. It would appear that he was firing him to obstruct justice. But he can put Mueller under investigation himself, in which case he could not continue to sustain his position.
He must recuse, but won't they bring in a new little creature?
Well, it kind of depends. Since the focus of the new special prosecutor would have to be Rosenstein himself, given that he was the supervising U.S. attorney on Uranium One, I would argue that the public wouldn't stand for it. Rosenstein would have to recuse himself also, and the decision would go to the Solicitor General.
But regardless, we're going to break. I mean, you know me, I won't sit there and put positive stuff out of it if it's not positive. I'm a killjoy, and you're like, hey, this is a victory. They are falling apart. They are scared. They are panicking. So they're changing the subject to Me Too and Roy Moore and you know, special hearings on Trump. I mean, they are really moving away from the Russia fable.
All of their bias, all of their prejudice, all of their true motives have been exposed in the last 10 days. It is incredible, between the rogue FBI agent, the text messages, all their dirty laundry is out there in public, and the American people are getting it. They are definitely getting it.
This is beyond any Perry Mason show. These 3 congressmen you mentioned, it's so riveting. It's like beyond a movie. I'm like on the edge of my seat, and they're just devastating them. And it's so good to see congressmen not being wimps, but being strong and being informed.
Well, and the other guy, frankly, who's been terrific is Senator Chuck Grassley, who has got this thing by the horns and is in full forward charge against the deep state.
Well, just like Jordan said last week, more's coming out. Let's talk about the next shoe to drop, because I know you and I both know some of what's about to drop. I don't know how much we want to get into here, but just get ready, because if you want to fight, the globalists have got one. Stay with us. We're watching the whole globalist system go down right now. It doesn't mean, again, we're offering some utopia on the other side, but I was already thinking this morning. One of the crew members said, we don't want to die on this Roy Moore Hill, which is a military term about this is not the hill for us to die on. It's not a bridge we got to take. It's not a fortress. It's them throwing everything they had at it, problems with the candidate, a perfect storm. They're trying to make this a bellwether of Republican losses so that the House and the Senate get taken in 2018. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm going to get Roger Stone's take on that. I remember Roger privately agreeing with the president months ago, saying, you know, boy, we could have done something better than this more. But we saw it as a Tea Party victory that the Republicans wanted Luther Strange, and we got this. The question is, would have Luther Strange have won? Matt Drudge came out and you know, said, hey, sometimes stuff's just a little too much. But we also saw fake polls showing him losing by 10 to 15 points. That creates a bandwagon effect for Jones. We also see them saying they're going to expunge the records of the voting unprecedentedly the day after the election. So my gut tells me, after seeing all the election fraud, that there was some serious fraud here, that they didn't count most of the military ballots, and he only lost by half a point. But again, die on that hill. Does the recount have any chance? I haven't asked your opinion on this, Roger. What do you think really happened in Alabama?
Well, Alex, first of all, I think it's important to understand how we got here, because the president essentially, I think, was misled into making a series of bad choices. The way Alabama's primary system works, there is an initial primary in which there were not 2, but 4 candidates. Luther Strange, the attorney general who'd been appointed to the U.S. Senate in a dirty deal with the outgoing governor who was on his way to prison. Luther was supposed to be investigating him. Instead, he was importuning him for an appointment. Congressman Mo Brooks, who, although friendly with Steve Bannon, was a never Trumper during the 2016 race. Dr. Randy Brinson, who appeared here at InfoWars, an early original Trump supporter and former chairman of the Alabama Christian Coalition.
That's who you thought would be really the best.
I thought he would be the strongest candidate. And then Roy Moore. Now, of those, only Brinson was a Trump supporter. But every time Dr. Brinson was able to find substantial financial support, Mitch McConnell and the boys at the Senate committee would mobilize and cut that money off. The president was told by his advisors that this was a 2-person race and that he had to choose between Luther Strange and Mo Brooks. That was never true. And the president was kind of shocked when suddenly a judge he had never heard of won the nomination. Now, I'm a libertarian, as you know. Roy Moore was never my cup of tea. On the other hand, I didn't want a liberal Democrat in that seat. Now, in essence, I think we have avoided a whole new controversy, because I can tell you directly,
if Moore would have gotten in, they were going to make a canard out of it, a red herring. It was going to be really add to the whole Me Too hysteria.
Even worse, Mitch McConnell and the Senate Campaign Committee had investigators in Alabama this past week digging into Judge Moore's personal finances, seeking to prove that he lied on his financial disclosure forms, a felony that would certainly prevent you from being seated in the Senate. So they were ready had he won. Frankly, I doubt the judge would ever have been seated.
So you think we dodged a bullet here?
I really do. Now, here's what I would do if I were the president. Right now, I would call Doug Jones and I would invite him to the White House. Doug Jones has to run in Alabama in 3 years. Alabama is not and will never be a liberal state.
And so if he's smart, he'll make a compromise with the president.
Well, it's a ruby red state. If Doug Jones wants to get reelected, then he's got to be a Democrat in the mold of Howell Heflin or Rick Shelby when he was a Democrat. They're not going to elect, or I should say re-elect, a liberal Democrat.
Then how did one of the most ruby red states fall to the Democrats? Just all the money, the Moore, because Moore did kind of hide a lot once this stuff came out.
That was a huge factor. You can't be invisible and be a candidate. Riding your horse is not going to get you votes. Moore was too extreme even for Alabama. Even his wife's comments at the rally the night before, oh, we're not anti-Semitic, one of our lawyers is a Jew.
So expanding on that, Matt Drudge is right that you just can't push it this far.
Well, look, you had Roy Moore saying that homosexual activity between consulting adults should be illegal. I'm sorry. I'm a libertarian. What consenting adults do behind closed doors is their business.
No, I mean, I hear you. And it's
too extreme. Even for Alabama, too extreme. So Moore was too far out of the mainstream. He was a poor campaigner. He wasn't terribly articulate. And when attacked, he didn't punch back. He disappeared. That is a cardinal mistake, a cardinal rule. If you're gonna get attacked, you got to respond. We had them ready to come on this show, and they just wasn't off record discussion. They were just afraid I'd ask tough questions. And I said, yeah, I'm going to bring up how young girls as you date, because I think it's a little creepy. But I was going to... So they passed up the opportunity to be seen by millions of liberty-minded voters and thousands of them in Alabama. It was an inept campaign, a poor candidate, and unfortunately, the president was pushed into a series of unfortunate choices. All right, let's shift gears here. What are they going to do? Where do you think the Russia investigation goes now that it's literally a point exposing the fraud, and it's unraveling by the day as new documents come out? They've been trying to hold them back. Now it's a deluge, a collapse level. Floodgates have been opened. What do they do now? We know it's Me Too. That's their go-to. But if Trump doesn't roll over, or the Republicans don't roll over to all this ridiculousness, it doesn't do anything. So where do they go in their hysterics? Because they're reaching new levels. But actually, I give you credit for this. The instant the Weinstein thing broke, you said on this show, they're going to recycle the phony charges against Trump now. You predicted it before anyone I know, and that's precisely what we see unfolding. But I can see the PR rollout. They did this on purpose. They couldn't cover this up anymore. His brother wanted to burn him. They've been spending, it was already coming down, so they decided to do it. It's clear rollout. But what I think the answer, Alex, is, as I told the New York Daily News and the Washington Times this week, and Vanity Fair, I still believe that the only two people on the planet who don't realize that Mueller is going to bring a charge of either obstruction or perjury against the president are the president's two lawyers. Now, it's very important to understand that Ty Cobb, one of the president's two lawyers, does not work for Donald J. Trump. He works for the Hold on, stay there. You're hosting the fourth hour. I'm going to co-host part of that. Stay there. We're going to come right back in a moment and break all this down with the one, the only Roger Stone. I'm Alex Jones. I want to just thank you all, the listeners, thank this crew, thank the sponsors, thank the networks, thank everybody for being here. I just want to say that because it's so incredible. We're even on the air with all the tribulation that has gone on. And I'm not complaining. It's what we asked for. But let me tell you, it's been quite a ride. Christmas week. We're calling it Christmas week. I want people to adopt it. The week before Christmas. It's about Christmas. So call it Christmas week. We have free shipping store-wide at InfoWarsStore.com. Free shipping. That hadn't been around in a few weeks. We brought it back. And close to 100 items now that are 50 to 67% off. And we're not selling stuff that's not selling at that. I want you to get products, in some cases at loss leader prices, so that they're so good you'll want to come back and get them again. But let me tell you, we need funding. And it's, you know, it's been up and down this year compared to last year. I need to expand. I'm trying to hire more people. I'm trying to pay them decent to do our hard work. And my great reporter, people like Owen Schroyer and others, you know, I want to give them Christmas bonuses. So I know it's hard for you out there as well, but you get great products, water filters, seeds, books, videos, supplements. When you get them at InfoWarsStore.com, you know you're fighting the tip of the spear. You know you're getting the globalist faces, and you know you're having an amazing effect. So please do your Christmas shopping, or at least part of it, at InfoWarsStore.com. We've got the new Red Pill. We've got Alpha Power, which is just incredible. We've got Brain Force Plus. We've got DNA Force, 33% off. We've got so much available at InfoWarsStore.com, or you can call toll-free 888-253-3139. But whatever you do, understand, we don't whine like millennials or like SJWs. Oh, my God, we're under attack. But when it all comes out someday, what's been going on behind the scenes, nobody even knows about it here. And that's okay. People are going to be amazed. Because let me tell you, I live a James Bond movie every day. They want to shut this down, and the money you give us is coffin nails in their big, fat, ugly butts. At the start of the next segment, we're going to get to Al Green. He's back again with more impeachment pushes after it failed earlier this week. We're going to play that video coming up. Roger Stone's going to be hosting after that. I'm going to turn the baton over to him. But Roger, I saw it as a big deal over the weekend on CBS's weekend show. They had the former head of the CIA, he was interim head, former deputy director, come out
and say, we were wrong, we spied on the president-elect, we spied on the president, it was political, it was wrong, and he's been a Hillary supporter and a Democrat. So to have Michael Morell do that, I see that as a real white flag, and that they realize they've been caught on this Russia thing. I don't want to over-celebrate that, and it could be a foil. You're smarter with your instincts when it comes to this, but I mean, these guys don't usually come out and do this unless they know that they're rolling over and showing their little pink bellies. What do you say?
Well, the evidence is now so overwhelming. You know, the FISA court handed down these documents in November that showed that the NSA under Obama essentially conducted political espionage on 30,000 Americans. You may remember when Judge Napolitano reported this at Fox, that the president had been surveilled.
They said it was insane and fake, and then he'd been fired, or he'd been, and he'd just gone on vacation. It wasn't true. Plus, it's all been proven correct.
Right. So when are they going to apologize to him? The answer, sadly, is never. He was right on the money. So I think it's abundantly clear they were spying on the president. They were spying on his son-in-law. They were spying on Paul Manafort. They were spying on the entire campaign apparatus. This is an egregious crime far worse than Watergate.
It's a violation of the election, the voters, the trust, using all this thing against the people. I mean, yeah, this is serious felonies.
It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now let's compare that to what happened in Watergate, where some private contractors, as it were, failed to put bugs in the Democratic National Headquarters. Compare that to using the power of the state, the investigative might and capability of our taxpayer-financed surveillance agencies to conduct political espionage on the Republican presidential candidate post-convention. That is an outrageous crime. Clapper, Rice, Brennan, Rhodes.
And that's my next question.
Where are the indictments?
I like to laugh at it, but it's actually scary that they're this hubris-filled and arrogant and crazy, and to be sending emails and text messages bragging. I mean, these people are insane.
It's brazen is what it is. And if we had an attorney general who was awake, it's also criminal.
By the way, you've been harping on this forever, and rightfully so, but I got to agree with you now. Sessions has been compromised. What in Hades is going on?
No, Rod Rosenstein is the de facto attorney general of the United States. I don't know whether Jeff Sessions, who I think was a very good man in the Senate, I don't know whether he's compromised. I don't know if he is manipulated. I don't know how he is being controlled. But all he seems to care about is a crackdown on state legalized marijuana in the 29 states where it's been legalized.
He is literally the sad caricature of a 1940s boss hog now. And I used to love him for leaking stuff about immigration and things. He was a good senator, but I don't know, Alabamans are mad at him too. I mean, he needs to go.
No, it's time to resign. Now, it was publicly reported that he had recused himself in Uranium One, and then Dr. Jerry Corsi dug into that and found out it was not true. Therefore, to be clear, Sessions could appoint the special prosecutor we need to dig into Mueller and Uranium One today.
That's right. He recused himself on the fake Russia investigation, not Uranium One. Not Uranium One. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to be a big boy. I don't want to risk my life. But you know what? I'm not one of these cowardly souls that rolls over to tyrants. And I'm here to make war on them. And we've proven that liner's from 15 years ago, at least. So that's like 19 years old. Crashing through the lies and disinformation. Can we play that liner one more time? Because that's been around since at least 1999. So I guess that's like 18 years. And that's what we do. That's what you do. We have, like if we were fighter races, we've got the decals all down the plane of what we shot down. And you did that too. Our victories are your victories. And the plane is like covered with our shoot downs. The number of tanks we bombed, the number of bridges we blew out, the number of other aircraft we took out, the number of buildings we strafed. I mean, it is ridiculous, the body count politically. But we're firing Americana. which they want you to forget about and act like it doesn't exist. We just dug up Excalibur. It's not even us. Like, whoa, what's this thing? Free market, success, decent things. And I get mad at myself, not the crew, because I don't see us as that important, like Infowars.com, Newswars.com. This has been out, I've learned, for over an hour and a half, and I hadn't refreshed Infowars.com. My fault. When I plagiarize. That's a Rush Limbaugh thing. Roger Stone's about to join us. This article, high-level FBI agents, this is in the new emails, more coming out. They're doling them out, hoping we don't see all this, because they threatened contempt of Congress. High-level FBI agents discussed insurance policy in case Trump won the election. They said, we can't take the risk. This is Strokes or Strokes or however you say it. I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office. And apparent reference to FBI Director Andrew McCabe. Good God, they've got running stuff. This is a literal operative, like Stone said weeks ago, that there is no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before 40. Page goes on to appear to respond according. So they made up the whole dossier, paid the wife of the Justice Department official to make it up in Threat GPS, and it's all out, or Fusion GPS. It's all out, and the new emails just came out. God, it's every hour. This is unbelievable. This is open and shut in front of a jury. Conspiracy to commit fraud, conspiracy to get false indictments, official oppression, conspiracy to defraud taxpayers for fake money, for fake dossiers. I mean, Roger Stone, this article, everybody listening has got to tweet this out at Real Alex Jones. They've got to tweet it out, Paul Watson. You just got to go crazy. I just cannot believe that this is coming out. I mean, you add this to everything else, Roger, this is beyond sensational. This is an extravaganza of evidence.
No, Alex, it's the drip, drip, drip of Chinese water torture. They are dying the death of 1,000 cuts as their lies and their partisanship and their true plans and motives.
Because they thought Hillary would get in. So the dumb people are on the official FBI email talking about the criminal actions they're involved in.
Right, because they were confident they'd be able to cover it all up the way they covered up the Clintons' crimes in the 80s.
So the headline is FBI agents caught attempting to frame Trump. I mean...
Well, and notice the Andrew McCabe, who is referenced in that story, is the same gentleman who is stonewalling the House Intelligence Committee, stonewalling Chairman Nunes.
Who represented that McCabe would be fair and balanced, because when Trump finds out, he's going to go ape. I mean, we now have McCabe is like quarterbacking the whole operation. So they get rid of one group and a whole, not like shark teeth, another larcenous group comes in.
But the other question is, who advised the president to keep Mr. McCabe in his job? See, I believe that Comey should have been discharged literally the second Trump took his hand off the Bible. He should have turned to Comey and said, "You're fired." For whatever reason, they did not do that. There was never any house cleaning at the FBI. There was never any house cleaning at the DOJ. So what you have in this administration is Trump appointees at the very top. And once you get to the second and third levels, it's an army of Obama apparatchiks. And there's never been a house cleaning.
But, I mean, the overreach, they've been caught. This is spectacular. I can't imagine with the drip, drip where this is going. Because you said the American people are paying attention. They're awake. They're getting it. I mean, they have been caught in the most classic kangaroo investigation. Will Mueller still have the huevos to have his swamp jury, his swamp grand jury out of D.C. indict the president when he is a literal Russian agent, Mueller?
Well, an incredible story also, Alex, on Politico, which the Justice Department refuses to disclose the contents of a waiver that was given to Mr. Mueller so that he could assume this very job as special counsel. This is a waiver that presumably pertains to his conflicts at Wilmer Hale, the law firm that he left to take this appointed position.
Which is up to its eyeballs in shady Russian deals.
Among other things. Now, Tyler Nixon, the young activist, a California attorney and investigative reporter who's going to join us later on the War Room, has determined that Mueller is, while a member of the California bar, he is now inactive. Why? Well, inactive members cannot be charged with ethical lapses, cannot be brought up
Let's expand.
on bar charges.
Nixon's what, the grandson of Richard Milhouse Nixon?
He is, I guess, great nephew of the former president. He's a bulldog as an investigator and a reporter and an attorney, and he's been digging into Mueller's bar status. You see, when you're on inactive status, you can't be disciplined by the bar. Remember, after the Enron investigation, there were dozens of complaints against Andrew Weissman for his conduct in violation of the bar ethics. So they don't want to repeat that again. They go to inactive status to put themselves above the laws, or I should say the rules, for attorneys.
I don't think they survived this, and I don't, we know they were going to launch the Me Too stuff next year. I don't think they survived this. I don't want to celebrate victory yet. I just think we just gained, it was a boxing match, we just gained the upper hand here. I mean, this is really good news.
Well, and we have done more than our share at InfoWars of breaking the key parts of this story. We were the first ones who told you that the Wall Street hedge fund billionaire, Paul Singer, had financed the dirty dossier before it was tossed over to the Clinton campaign, and then the financing was picked up by the Justice Department, in essence, the FBI. But at the same time, kudos have to go to Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Judge Jeanine Pirro, who have been stellar in helping us break this story for the American people.
And they've been trying to boycott them. They've been trying to shut them down for that. But we have to give credit where it's due. Even though you've been banned on Fox, and I've been banned on there for at least 5 years, we will give credit because we're not in competition with any of those people. And they've all been called Russian agents too, just like we have.
They are all patriots, every one of them, and they're friends, and they have done extraordinary reporting in the last 10 days, helping bring this to
let me ask you that question going to break. Fox got really bad during the Ailes coup and was really bad till about 2 months ago, and suddenly it got better, and now I guess they realized that they couldn't hold back the truth. Now they're hardcore. What happened?
Well, you can still go see
No, they're still bad people, but I mean, comparatively, it was bad, really bad a few months ago.
I think that it just appears better to us because the big stories that they are helping develop and break. An incredible story in the New York Times, by the way, last weekend, that Judge Jeanine went in to brief the president on Mueller's conflicts, and General John Kelly told her, "You're not helping here." Extraordinary.
General Kelly, you're not helping here. We're trying to roast this guy. We were walking him down the plank here. Don't tell him we're walking him down the plank to a bunch of tiger sharks. Roger Stone's taking over on the other side. Please support the InfoWar. Free shipping store-wide. It's going to have to end the next few days, and 50% off. It's got to end. A lot of stuff selling now, but we need your support, so get the products. All right, we're back live. Roger Stone's about to take over. I mentioned Al Green, and again, they're just getting everybody conditioned that impeachment's okay. He introduced it last week. Barely got any co-sponsors. Well, he's back. This is yesterday afternoon. He's back because, we can't have the recovery and all the great things that are happening. I mean, if Trump wasn't delivering or fighting to deliver, then I'd abandon him in 10 seconds. But it's not that the president's patted me on the head a few times. It's that this is real. We're returning power to America. Does it mean we're executing perfectly? No. But he's bringing power back to be the president. Catherine Austin Fitz said that last hour, or earlier this hour. That's what's happening. Here's that clip. We'll get Roger Stone's take on it.
There will be another vote to impeach this president.
And he just wants to say he's behind it when it happens.
Vote, because I will not stand by and watch this country, the country I love, be brought into shame and disrepute because of a person who is unfit to hold the office of president. Mr. Speaker, history will judge us all. I'm sorry for those who find that this is unacceptable and
Look how
unbearable.
disingenuous this guy is.
I'm sorry. But the country is greater than we are. Government of the people, by the people, is greater than we are. Maintaining and saving the republic is greater than we are.
Hit pause. It's the Democrats, the Republican leadership creating globalism, killing our sovereignty, killing our prosperity, and it's all coming back. And then they sit around and act like Trump did something bad. It's just, I don't know about this country. Because it produced so much wealth, it's produced lazy, stupid people like Al Green who get elected and go to Congress. He lives here in Texas. He sees how our economy is growing. Others are falling apart. He doesn't care. He wants to pass everything like California and just follow what he's told and try to impeach the president and build this up. What a buffoon. But he doesn't care. Because guys like him think mainstream media matters. Let's finish the clip.
In one sense. But in another sense, it really is who we are. I have a tie on that says, we the people. We the people. We are the ones who can make a difference. There will be another vote. I yield back the balance of my time.
This is a guy literally for TPP, literally for selling our country out, bringing in unvetted jihadis. And then he talks about the republic and saving it when they bash the American flag. The Ninth Circuit bans wearing it in schools in a bunch of states, California, you name it. They call it flyover country. They say they hate it. They put out clips saying they hate it. They have liberal comedians saying, oh, my boyfriend had an American flag. I couldn't believe it. It's so horrible. I mean, these are like space aliens in America. They're so whacked out, but now suddenly they're wearing American flags. What do you make? What do you make of this, Roger Stone?
Well, Alex, I got to be honest with you. I liked Al Green much, much better when he was singing R&B and gospel. Who can forget his fabulous song, Love and Happy? Oh, it's not the same guy. I'm sorry. Look, the guy's a carny barker, but this is part of a strategy. This is to get the words Trump and impeachment into a headline to begin to condition people. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a two-part act. First, they get Mueller to trump up some phony process-oriented charge against the president. Perjury, obstruction, both in connection with the firing of Comey. Then, if the Democrats take the House in 2018, well, then Mr. Green's dream will be fulfilled. We have the excuse, the rationale for impeachment. The only people on the face of the planet who don't seem to understand this are the president's lawyers.
And that's why I played it, because the president's lawyers get into that.
Well, they're looking at Al Green and they're saying, oh, this guy doesn't have the votes. They don't understand that this is just an early salvo. Now, this is very important. Although Mr. Dowd, John Dowd, works for the Donald J. Trump personally, Ty Cobb, who I guess got his name from a baseball player, works for the office of the president. That means that none of his communications with the president are privileged. That means that Mueller can question him, can demand his notes and records. I think this is reckless, to say the least. But the president, as recently as last night, told someone I spoke to that he is expecting a letter imminently from the special counsel clearing him of any Russian collusion. I don't know any savvy observer in Washington who believes that that's about to really happen. And I still believe the president's lawyers, who are outgunned and outmanned by the vast Get Trump squad employed by Mr. Mueller at taxpayer expense, is slow walking our president to the gallows. They just completely misunderstand the level of enmity that the two-party duopoly and the ruling elites, the Clintons and the Bushes et al., have for Donald Trump and the miracle that he pulled off in last year's election. They want to negate the results of the last presidential election. They want to achieve through a coup what they could not achieve at the ballot box. Remove Donald Trump.
Continue, Roger Stone.
So, look, I think that it is vitally important that the president understand this, that he not be lulled into this false sense of security. The fact that he is now going to Florida on the weekends, the fact that he is now back to his habits of roaming his palatial estate, Mar-a-Lago, that he is mixing with old friends. Alex, it's not incidental that he went to Palm Beach, and when he came back, he posted those incredible videos showing the Islamic terrorists killing a handicapped Dutch man. General Kelly was tearing his hair out. Oh my God, the president stumbled onto the truth and he posted it on his Twitter feed.
Wow.
How outrageous.
Okay, Roger Stone's taking over on the other side. Infowars.com, newswars.com with huge breaking news. Please spread those links to globalists. Hope you don't, because we're in quite a fight. And please pray for Infowars and for my family. I would just ask for that. We'll be back.
In the fake news department, I watched former Vice President Joe Biden this morning on CBS. They held him over for an extra segment, and he actually said with a straight face that in the 8 years of Barack Obama, there was never even a hint of scandal. What planet does this man live on? There was the IRS targeting scandal, the Veterans Administration waiting list scandal, the GSA spending spree scandal, the attack on the Benghazi compound scandal, the Clinton email and cover-up scandal, the Fast and Furious gun walking scandal, the Salandra subsidy scandal, the Department of Justice and the new Black Panther Party scandal. Joe Biden denies history, but it's clear that he's warming up for a campaign for president. We can only be so lucky. My second choice after crooked Hillary would be dumb Joe. Every time he has run for president, his candidacy has come crashing down with no votes. And then, extraordinarily, he has the audacity to excoriate Judge Roy Moore and excoriate the president on the issue of sexual harassment when we can see photo and video upon video upon video upon video demonstrating the fact that creepy old Joe can't seem to keep his hands off of children. Can't seem to know when to give up in that warm embrace with grown women. My all-time favorite is the picture of him embracing Hillary and not knowing when to stop. She has one of the most uncomfortable looks on her face I've ever seen. Joe Biden, this guy is a real fraud. Somebody told me a great Joe Biden story not long ago. There's a Racino, that's a casino that has a racetrack that has slot machines in lower Delaware, in Dover to be specific. And it's a very popular meeting place, particularly for senior citizens. And they have a buffet that opens at 6 o'clock. It's an all-you-can-eat affair. Very, very popular in lower Delaware. So popular that the line of customers starts at the door and almost goes around the block. Well, who should show up for the buffet and go right to the head of the line but the former vice president? Well, one smart Delawarean tapped him on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you, to the back of the line." To which Joe, of course, said, "Don't you know who I am?" To which the taxpayer said, "No, I know exactly who you are. Get to the back of the line." What kind of politician is that entitled? What kind of politician is that oblivious? What kind of politician is that? Insensitive. That's our Joe. He tells you that he's a working class guy. Joe from Scranton. Joe lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion in Greenville, the swankiest part of Wilmington. Joe, please run. Donald Trump would beat you like a drum. We are remiss if we do not mention to you that the #1 place for you to do all of your Christmas shopping is at the InfoWars store. Now, Alex Jones has put this right when he says it's a 360 win. He's got big plans for an expansion here at InfoWars. You already see the fruits of it coming up in the next hour when we go to the War Room. This is part of our 10-hour daily broadcast, an extensive expansion of the reporting that we're doing here on InfoWars. So if you like the Alex Jones Show, if you are digging the real news with David Knight in the morning, if you like what Owen Schroyer and our colleague Rob Dew are doing at the War Room, remember, we are totally and completely listener and viewer subsidized. We survive only through your purchase of the carefully selected and rigorously tested products at the InfoWars store. We don't have any right-wing fat cats writing us big checks for our expansion. We have no George Soros. We can only depend on you. And some of these Christmas sales are really off the charts. I myself am a major fan of the Super Blue Fluoride toothpaste and the entire Super Blue Fluoride line of oral products now available at deep discounts at the InfoWars store. But one new product I want to bring your attention to is Alpha Power, which is an extraordinary new product developed by the scientists who work for Alex Jones. And the purpose of Alpha Power is to raise your energy levels and boost your performance during the day. This is a proprietary blend of niacin, zinc, and other all-natural products, including horny goatweed, also known as epimedium, which has been used by the Chinese literally for centuries in a high-energy tonic. This is the very best of the all-natural formulas that you can get at the Infowars.com store. And now, in a special introductory offer, this product is 50% off. This is an extraordinary bargain. I don't really know how Alex Jones does it. He slashes these prices, but as he said earlier, they're loss leaders. Once you are introduced to a product like Brain Force Plus, for example, and you realize the kind of mental clarity and mental energy it brings you, we're confident you're going to come back. In fact, I urge you to go to the auto ship function. That way you will never be without. Now, I have made the mistake of not going to the auto ship function. And therefore, when I ran out of a Brain Force, I started to think like a liberal. I was getting dumb, I think, but they were out. I had to wait until they restocked. Don't let it happen to you. Don't become a libtard. Get your Brain Force Plus now at this incredible discount. Help us, help you, and help finance the revolution. I'm Roger Stone. So while you're at it, let me recommend to you my book, The Making of the President 2016, which you can get at the InfoWars store. Yesterday, I told a prominent conservative publisher that if the president is brought down in a coup d'etat, I was going to write the successor book, The Unmaking of the President. And I have begun, sadly, taking notes. Now, if the president thrives and survives, if he beats back the globalist cabal that seeks to sack him in a takedown, I, of course, will not write this book. But right now, I've begun taking notes because the president's lawyers are walking him towards the gallows. And fortunately, we at InfoWars are the clarion call. We are the ones seeking to alert the American people. You see, the Trump revolution awakened many. And if they take the president down, these people will not go back to sleep. I'm Roger Stone, and you're at InfoWars. Welcome back. You're on the Alex Jones Show. It's your host, Roger Stone, sitting in for Alex Jones. Well, finally, at long last, Omarosa, the woman who was fired 3 separate times on the Apprentice reality TV show, has resigned from the Trump administration. We reported to you back in February how Omarosa helped facilitate the sending of a delegation from the White House to the inauguration of the new government in Haiti, which was essentially the old government with a different front man. These are the same people who participated in the rape of Haiti in the wake of the earthquake. This is an issue that President Trump himself raised during the campaign. You see, Bill Clinton got himself appointed UN Special Ambassador to oversee the aid to Haiti in the wake of that horrific natural disaster. And the Clintons and the Clinton crime family boosted literally millions of dollars from the Haitian people. Hillary controlled the federal dollars, Bill controlled the international dollars, and the bids for housing, roads, hospitals, and other relief efforts were put out to the Clintons' cronies. The people were raped. But instead, Omarosa, who knew that they had stolen 2 elections, was working with the Haiti Support Project and the shady Democratic operative Ron Daniels. So this finally came to naught when Omarosa formally asked whether she could hold her wedding in the Rose Garden. She was denied that because, by tradition, only the presidential families who were married during the family's time in the White House can hold such a ceremony. For example, President Nixon's daughter, Tricia Nixon, married Ed Cox in such a ceremony. When she was denied, didn't seem to stop Omarosa. White House guards were astounded when her entire wedding party showed up unannounced at the White House and began to party down in the Rose Garden. It was only a matter of time before General John Kelly bagged Omarosa, and now she is gone, physically dragged and escorted off the White House grounds on the orders of General John Kelly. Good riddance. All Omarosa did was enable the continued rape of the Haitian people by the same gang of criminals who raped them under Bill and Hillary Clinton. We are still, trying to ascertain the damage done by yesterday's Alabama election. The pundits, of course, have immediately tried to project that this is a coming indicator for the 2018 off-year elections. I can tell you, after 40 years in American politics, one special election does not a cycle make. And in politics, a day is a lifetime. Look at the way that the veneer, for example, of the once respected and vaunted FBI and the Justice Department is being stripped away day by day as Robert Mueller and his Confederates are exposed as the partisan hit team that they are. We have the incredible activities of Mr. Strzok. Now, how ironic that the FBI agent who General Mike Flynn is accused of lying to is the same FBI agent who interviewed Cheryl Mills and the top Obama staff, including Huma Abedin, and who gave both of them immunity in the email scandal. How ironic that Mr. Strzok is the same FBI agent who provided the wording for Mr. Comey's final assessment of the Hillary email scandal, claiming that she was careless rather than negligent, thus avoiding a criminal charge. Seems that there are different standards for these Justice Department crusaders under Obama, looking into Hillary and now looking into Donald Trump. So it is a mistake to assume that the defeat of Roy Moore is a stunning a portend of the elections to come. Maybe, maybe not. A strong and vibrant economy is the real key to the Republicans holding both houses of Congress. But there is, without any question, subterfuge and an effort to undermine our president. I learned this week that Speaker Paul Ryan was aware as early as September of last year that the Awan brothers, the two Pakistani IT consultants brought into the House of Representatives by Deborah Wasserman Schultz, the former Democratic National Committee chairwoman and congresswoman who got caught red-handed rigging the Democratic nomination process for Bernie Sanders. But Ryan was aware that the Awan brothers had stolen almost $16 million in a cybercrime. He also was aware that the Awan brothers had tapped into the email of 45 members of Congress. And it can only be presumed that the fact that no Democrat has been willing to step forward to testify against them, that these emails were being used for the purpose of blackmail. Now, if Paul Ryan had made this known to the American people prior to the election, it would have helped Donald Trump and hurt the Democrats. So what reason is there for the speaker delaying the public's knowledge of this burgeoning scandal until after the election? You can email us right here at InfoWars, or you can hit me at stone@stonezone.com, Mr. Speaker. I'd really like to hear your answer to that question. In the meantime, I want to take one more opportunity to remind you that the best place to do all of your Christmas shopping and to take care of the freedom-oriented patriots in your family is at the InfoWars store. I particularly like the entire range of First Amendment-oriented T-shirts, where you can get not only the iconic, historic Bill Clinton rape T-shirt, the T-shirt used by Alex Jones and yours truly to break through the mainstream media blackout of Bill Clinton's history of sexual assault and rape, and Hillary Clinton's role in bullying, intimidating, and threatening those women into silence. When these T-shirts run out, there it is, there will be no more. This T-shirt, which is written about extensively in my book, The Making of the President 2016, is going to end up in the Smithsonian. This is something you are going to want to hand down to your children and grandchildren. It's a great stocking stuffer. Go to the store now and order your official Bill Clinton rape t-shirt. And while you're at it, get a copy of The Making of the President. This is the definitive story of how Donald Trump pulled off the political upset of the century. I'm Roger Stone, and this is The Alex Jones Show.